but because it knows that if it cries, there's a father or a mother that'll hear and take care of its needs. And it knows that it acutely feels what's missing and wants somebody to take care of it. The kinos are the cry of a tino. And in that respect, the kinos are a ketone. To pour a large vessel of water is called a ketone. It's supposed to cry tears that could fill that kind of vessel. And then those kinos become a tikkun. Same ocean. They'll correct the crying that we cried out of hopelessness. On Yom Kippur, we also come to shul, stop eating and drinking, and we're not wearing shoes. But on Yom Kippur, we're wearing white, standing up like angels. We have tefillah and Torah, and everybody's friendly, and everybody's together. And on Tisha B'Av, we also don't eat and don't drink, but it's not a day in Gan Eden like Yom Kippur is. It's a day in Gehenna. Because on Yom Kippur, on Tisha B'Av, aside from not eating and drinking and all the other things that are similar to Yom Kippur, we don't stand up and dress in white like malachim. We're dressed in the clothes that haven't washed for 9 days. We're sitting in the ground, everybody alone to himself, feeling lonely, depressed. And in addition to the halachas of Yom Kippur, we also are not allowed to learn Torah, and we're not allowed to greet each other. There's no shalom, there's no Torah. That's what it's like in Gehenna. Without shalom, without Torah, no eating, no drinking, describes a different world. But not the world of Yom Kippur, the world of Gan Eden, but the world of Tisha B'Av, the world of Gehenna. And when we're missing shalom, we live in a very imperfect world, and we're missing emes. Emes is what is really substantive in this world, and we live in a world that there is no emes, and that's what we cry about. We are so lacking. So many important things are missing in everybody's individual life, in the life of Klal Yisrael, in the life of the world. But we know that if we cry and we recognize what we're missing, and we want it back, and we make plans of how to get it back and how to deserve it back, then eventually we will get it back. And that's why we cry. And that's how even Esav HaRosh, when he was informed that there are no more brachas, Yaakov took his brachas. So Esav cried. He recognized how much he was missing by not having those brachas. And he yearned for them, and he wanted them. And he wanted them so much that in the next pasuk, Yitzchak Avinu gives him a slew of brachas. Because if you want something, and you recognize how important it is, and you know how much you're missing without it, and you really, really want it, and you cry for it, then it creates new well springs of bracha, new potential. If it can do it for an Esav, it can do it for us. And that's why, had we cried before we went into Golus, we never would have gone into Golus. The Medrash says that Nebuchadnezzar told Nebuzradan, the one that he entrusted with exiling the Jewish people, he told him, make sure you don't give the Jewish people a chance to rest till you cross the Nar Paras, until you cross the Euphrates and they're outside of Eretz Yisrael. Don't give them a moment to rest inside of Eretz Yisrael. Because I'm afraid if they have a chance to sit and rest, they'll start crying. And if they cry, we have no power over them. Rabbi carried out his orders, and he kept them moving and moving and moving until finally they crossed the Euphrates. And that's what the Perek in Tehillim says, Al Naros Bavel Sham Yoshav. That's where we were able finally to sit. Before that we couldn't sit at all. And then Taka we cried. Gam bochim. At that point, Yirmiyahu Hanavi overtook them. And he said to them, Meid ani aleichem shomayim v'aretz. I bring the heavens and earth as witnesses. She'im b'chisem b'chiya achas kishayisem b'artzachem. Had you cried one cry when you still were in Eretz Yisrael, you never would have gotten to Golus. Now we're in Golus. It's not one cry, but it's thousands, millions of cries. Millions of people over the generation. And every generation adds another tear and another few tears and 100 tears and 1,000 tears. And there's a shear, like we say in the Kinnos tonight, Ad Ona B'chia B'tzia, until when? When will the shear be completed? We won't need to cry anymore. Who knows if somebody's tear tonight will be that final tear that will complete the shear of tears that are necessary to correct the tears that we shed so long ago, that B'chia Shalchina. They say that the Chassam Sofer used to sit Tisha B'Av, Erev Tisha B'Av, after Sudam Hafsekes. He used to sit alone in a room and cry. And he used to gather up the tears in a bottle. And those tears he used to heal people during the year. What power tears have when they are cried properly. When they're the kind of tears that are the B'chia Shel Mamish, substantive tears. After the Holocaust, many of the survivors gathered together and spent the first Rosh Hashanah in freedom together. They were in DP camps, displaced person camps. Shimon Sukkar, who was one of the leaders of Polei Agudas Yisrael, after Mariv, gathered the people together. They had nothing there. They had no wine for Kiddush. And he said in normal times we would be around the table with our families, eating a Rosh Hashanah meal. Our families are gone. We're all alone. We don't even have wine for Kiddush. So, but let's take the cups that they gave us for our rationed out food and fill them with our tears and make Kiddush on those tears. You can make Kiddush on tears. You can heal people with tears. You can create brachas with tears. This night, we're not the only ones who are crying. It says in the Kinnos tonight that the Malachim cry tonight. And the Mazalos cry tonight. The whole Bria is crying. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the cries of Jews of all generations. From Churban Bayis Rishon, and Churban Bayis Sheni, and Harugei Beitar, and all of the Crusades, and the Inquisitions, and the pogroms, and all those killed in Piguim. You can hear the cries of parents crying for a Gilad Shalit. Can you imagine how those parents cry? Parents that at least know their children were killed, though. They have closure. Parents that every day is another Gehenna. What's going to be with my child? The uncertainty, knowing where he is, what he is, the imagination. Can we hear those tears? Hear those cries? And the truth is that even HaKadosh Baruch Hu's crying. B'miskorim tiv genavshi. The Rebbeinu Shalom cries in the hidden places because he's hidden. Because the world is imperfect and the Rebbeinu Shalom can't reveal himself. He cries over that. It's also something to cry about. And Yirmiyahu Hanavi did us a favor.